I hope so indeed, Eve. I'm actually standing just outside the president's office where he left early this morning to make his trip to Pyongyang for his third summit with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. This is going to be the most interactive summit between the two Koreas this year. President Moon has traveled there with a large delegation. There will be art performances, banquets, lavish lunches. And his wife, First Lady Kim Jong-suk, is attending as well. And when President Moon is engaged in some of the dialogue with North Korea, she will be traveling to school. She will be visiting a music university and other locations throughout the city. And as I mentioned, the delegation, it also includes major heads of corporations here in South Korea. So quite an affair. It's beyond just talks at this point. I think President Moon is trying to place an emphasis on exposing the Koreas to each other and perhaps more exposing the South Koreans to visuals of North Koreans meeting with these corporate leaders to try and create a greater sense of peace and cooperation and understanding between the two sides. That being said, there are some things that won't go discussed at this summit. Number one, human rights. Just in this plaza yesterday, a prominent North Korean defector directed his voice towards the presidential office and said, "You must address human rights when you're in the North." President Moon Jae-in, unlikely to be heard this time. President Moon is focusing once again on denuclearization. That's Kim giving up his nuclear weapons.
Indeed, that issue of nuclear weapons, Bruce, will be high on the agenda. And also Moon Jae-in working somewhat as a go-between between North Korea and the United States. A difficult balancing act in some ways there.
Oh, definitely. I mean, President Moon is now seen as a mediator between the United States and North Korea over their stalled nuclear talks. President Moon, it's hard to say at this point what he's going to offer. I actually spoke with one of his top advisors last week and asked him to tell me what is President Moon's roadmap for convincing Kim Jong-un to continue this process, these nuclear talks with the United States. And he said, well, I can't speak to that. That's on President Moon. But what he did suggest, perhaps, is that economic incentives could play a role in breaking this stalemate. That's maybe why he's bringing this massive delegation of business leaders. Perhaps North Korea will decide that there could be economic incentives in the future.
Indeed. Tell us briefly, Bruce, about that delegation of business leaders that he's brought with them. 150 people, I believe.
A significant amount, including some of the top business leaders here in South Korea. That includes Lee Jae-young, who's the de facto head of Samsung. Interestingly enough, Lee Jae-young was in prison earlier this year over corruption convictions regarding the former president of South Korea, who's now in jail. But he was since released, and he's taken the helm again at Samsung. Now he's in North Korea, of all places, along with the rest of the president's delegation. We don't know too much about his agenda. We know the bullet points. One of those is that these delegations will be visiting different areas of North Korea, different facilities based on what organization they represent. And like I mentioned earlier, this is possibly some sort of incentive to North Korea that in the future, if talks go smoothly, if there perhaps is a breakthrough between the United States and North Korea, U.S. sanctions come down, North Korea provides more proof that it's going to give up its nuclear weapons, there will be greater cooperation between North and South Korea. And that could maybe someday even mean Samsung smartphones in the North, but that's probably quite a ways off.
Okay, Bruce.